Hello, this is Open Platform of Armenian Public Television. On September 27, Azerbaijan launched a large-scale military attack on the border of Nogorno Karabakh. Tens of innocent people and soldiers died, more than 100 people wounded. The only country expressing unequivocal support to Azerbaijan was Turkey. Today I will discuss the latest attacks with Ms. Maria Karapetyan, member of National Assembly of Armenia from My Step faction. Ms. Karapetyan, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for hosting me.
What was the first reaction from Armenian parliament?
Well, let me start by saying whether this was expected at all or unexpected. On a bigger picture, this was expected because even if we know that Aliyev's rhetoric is bellicose, throughout years it has been bellicose, there are periods where this rhetoric intensifies, and starting from this summer, we have observed such an intensification. So overall, the summer escalation and now the much larger scale escalation and war were predictable for us. At the same time, I want to stress that this is not normal. We should not normalize a situation like this. This region deserves better, and we should, even if we could have predicted this and we could see this coming, we should stress that this is absolutely unacceptable. And on the morning of the 27th of September, we obviously took this as something that we both predicted, but at the same time very much were shocked by, and we started taking steps both as individual MPs and also as the parliament as a whole. And obviously the whole society mobilized and started taking steps to put up an adequate response to this. And obviously the military had started doing its own actions even prior to that. We held an extraordinary session of the parliament where we discussed the introduction of martial law in Armenia as the attack on Nagorno Karabakh also means a threat to the Republic of Armenia as well. And even right now, as we speak, we know that the border of the Republic of Armenia is also attacked, and it was also attacked on the morning of September 27th. So the martial law in Armenia is necessary for us to defend ourselves and to also support Nagorno Karabakh in its defense. And then following this session in Parliament where we discussed the introduction of the martial law, we also had a session of Parliament where we adopted a declaration expressing our condemnation of this unacceptable launch of military attack and calling the attention of our partners in the international community to these developments and expecting an adequate response and evaluation on their behalf.
I was following the special extraordinary session, and the unified spirit of it, of the session was feeling even behind the screen. And before that, the non-parliamentary powers, political powers also expressed their support to the government, to all the Armenian nation. What would you tell about this? How do you assess this unification of the non-parliamentary powers, all the Armenians, despite their political views and political conflicts with the current government?
Mm-hmm. Of course, it is extraordinary, the level of solidarity that Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh, in the Republic of Armenia, and worldwide feel in times of facing threats. And but at the same time, I should stress that this is a very healthy response to these sorts of situation. Obviously, people put their differences aside because they have a different fight to fight, and it can only be fought when pulling all of our forces together. So absolutely, the session in Parliament was solely about providing support to each other and being in solidarity with each other in this struggle.
You told that you are in touch with the colleagues from other parliaments in other countries, and generally speaking, Armenian parliament also tries to communicate this issue with the others. What situation do we have now? How informed are the international community about this?
Well, first of all, this is not a task that we're carrying out only when there are crises like this. This is something that we're doing on a daily basis, I should say, as part of the parliamentary diplomacy and informing our colleagues in other countries about a wide range of issues is an ongoing process. And what do I mean by this wide range of issues? Very often we see that our colleagues in the world are need to have more insight into the origins of this conflict, how it all started, into the framing of this conflict, what it is about. And let me state these two nuances, that this conflict is about the right to self-determination of a people, the right to govern their own lives, and about security. This is not a territorial conflict. This is not about land. This is about rights. And having a very clear idea about the origins of this conflict also allows us to have a conversation about what is the possible solution to this conflict, because it is only in addressing the origins that we can find the path to sustainable peace. So it's not about territory, it's about human lives and human rights, and the path to the solution should go through ensuring that these lives are protected and these rights are ensured. And then obviously in times of the military types of military escalation such as this, we intensify our contacts with our colleagues, and that's what we have been doing so far. I want to stress that we have had responses from the international community, and all countries without exception express a need for de-escalation and a support for the peaceful resolution of this conflict, with one exception, and that is Turkey. And I want to talk a little bit about why this is so and how this is so.
Yes,
all throughout years,
this is the first time from 1994 that Turkey obviously and openly expresses not only its support but also potentially supporting with technical assistance and others. Yes, please.
You're absolutely right. In the recent years, always we've seen political support from Turkey to Azerbaijan, and a one-sided approach to the conflict. But in these recent months, we also see very tangible support to Azerbaijan in terms of military support. You know that the military drills and exercises took place following the July aggression, and after that the military equipment was not taken back, so it remained where it was stationed. And then obviously on the level of rhetoric, Turkey fuels Azerbaijan's aggression and expresses its support for this aggression, and this is very destructive, not only for this conflict, not only for the region, but also globally, because this is the continuation of the pattern that Erdogan has shown in its neighborhood, in the region, and this should be viewed in that context.
There was some information about terrorist groups coming from Syria through Turkey to Azerbaijan, and yesterday Reuters news agency reported about it directly with interview with two of these terrorists. They stated that their departure was coordinated with Ankara, with Turkey. What do you think about these statements and this fact? In reality, that information became a fact?
Well, obviously there is evidence floating around indicating the presence of foreign fighters in Azerbaijan. But let us also look at the other indicators that we've had this far, apart from interviews such as that. The OSCE is the organization for security and cooperation in Europe, the organization that is the platform for the peace process, for the resolution of the Nogorno Karabakh conflict. And the OSCE has a small group of observers that visits the line of contact, the front line, every now and then to monitor the situation. And 2 days prior to the attack on Nagorno Karabakh, the observers requested a visit, and the Azerbaijani Ministry of Defense rejected this request. So we can assume what would have happened. The observers would have come and seen what type of accumulation of military personnel and equipment there is on the line of contact. They would have observed the presence of foreign elements militants
and also
foreign
Turkish
fighters.
Experts as well, yeah?
Yes,
Most
and
probably.
we also observed how only an hour after the attack broke out, the Turkish TV channels were already on the ground
From the side, yeah.
from the line of contact.
Yeah.
So this is also a sign that this was pre-planned and premeditated. But also in Aliyev's rhetoric, we see that this is pre-planned and premeditated. 4 years, he never excludes the possibility of solving this conflict by force. That is what he says verbally himself, confirming this. And then, as I said, in the recent months, this bellicose rhetoric has intensified. So he not only doesn't exclude the possibility of attempting to solve this conflict by force, but actually threatens, and then these threats are followed by concrete actions. I should also stress that for years Armenia has supported the idea of putting monitoring mechanism, cameras on the line of contact, to always know for sure in a reliable international mechanism who has started the firing first. We are tired of this blame game. We ourselves know who started it first, but to be sure and not to play this blame game on the international level, this monitoring mechanism should have been implemented.
Also being backed by the information technologies, like if you see the camera recording, you can clearly be sure what side started.
Of course, the Armenian side has installed these mechanisms, but it is for our own use. We need an internationally reliable mechanism, and on both sides, to make sure that this takes place. Also, coming back to the topic of foreign fighters, you know that Aliyev has banned all types of social media. Almost there is no access to internet, to platforms for people both to receive information but also to give information. And all of these are signs that there is something that he doesn't want the world to know. So, and obviously the testimonies of these people about the presence of foreign fighters.
And coming back to the international community and the international institutions and regional powers. United Nations, NATO, OSCE, as you mentioned, Council of Europe, EU and others, United States, France and other countries, called to stop the violence. However, Turkey and Azerbaijan ignore that calls. What do you think? What can finally stop them?
I think we should, first of all, and this is common knowledge among Armenians, we should first of all rely on ourselves. And this is what we observe is being done right now. But at the same time, you know, we should constantly also talk about how Aliyev wears down the peace process and how he attacks the negotiation process. And he also blames Armenia for a destructive position, yet we have constantly showed that there are options for a peaceful resolution. We have constantly talked about the possibility of these options, and we have offered, invited to move towards this direction. And I think that locally, our military should be strong to ensure our security, but on the level of the negotiations, we should always keep the option to go back to these peaceful negotiations and to move forward towards lasting and sustainable peace. So it's a balance of these two acts.
Ms. Karapetyan, thank you for your time and for joining us.
Thank you.
This is Open Platform of Armenian Public Television, and I was talking to Ms. Maria Karapetyan, member of Armenian Parliament from the My Step faction. Thank you for watching us.